at a place, even in this country, where we don't have to wake up and go to the office for us to work, but we can work from wherever we are. And those are thoughts that we may need to think about. So even as we continue, if you have any question, you can raise, or if you have any comment, you can chat with us in that chat box. But also the change towards digitization of data and the establishment of data repositories has created a new term in the field of information system. And that is basically that because we have digitized our way of operations in organizations, we can be able now to think how else can that data be used, or how useful is the data that we are using in the organizations. Then the other thing that I need, maybe some few definitions that I need to mention is now the key definitions here is on data warehousing and data mining, because the course that we are talking about in this class is just about that. How can we store historical data, but also how can we mine, or how can we retrieve data from multiple sources? And so key definitions that I would want to mention here is on data warehousing, which is a data warehouse is a subject-oriented, and we'll talk about features of data warehouse, subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, and non-volatile collection of data in support of management's decision making process. So we are not just storing data here. Data warehouse is not just putting data, helter-skelter, but it's also being keen on how do we store that data. So subject-oriented, such that we are looking at that data from, for example, marketing department, data around marketing, data around sales, data around our customer, data around this product. It's subject-oriented, but also it's integrated because we are getting that data from multiple sources. The other thing is also time variant, that as time goes, data keeps on changing. And so we also want to view that data with respect to when that data was mined or when that data was stored. Non-volatile also, because every time we store data in warehouses, we don't want to have that data altered. And a good example would be Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, for example. We would not want a case whereby you get census like the one that we had recently, and then 10 years after that, the data that you collected has been altered, because then how would you be able to compare the two? Because the point here would be get the historical data and compare and deduce some meaning out of that. So we want the data stored in data warehousing to be also to be non-volatile. Allow me to just check. So by the end of this unit, are we going to learn how to collect social media data? Say someone is interested in knowing how many people used their hashtag. Okay. What I would say around this is I will introduce you to various platforms that are used for data collection. Either we are talking of text data, or we are talking of text data, or we are talking of numerical data. I'll introduce you to various platforms, and then also various platforms that we can use for visualization. And then now, depending on your needs, you'll be able to determine which platform or which one works for you for whichever need that you have. And that's how I would respond to your question, Nelson. Yes, so data warehousing is key in that sense, that we want to have a way that we can collect data that is subject oriented. So marketing, sales, customer care, all that, as opposed to data about ZTech University, because that would not be a subject oriented data. But the way we store data is, in a sense, subject oriented. And even what Google is doing, and I mentioned this last week, what Google is doing to be able to store the data the way they store it, or rather to get the data from multiple sources. So you sign up in Code Academy and you're asked to sign up with your Google email account, and they pick that data, and that data is translated into various subjects. But the primary key of each and every of your records or data about yourself, the primary key becomes the email address. And so subject-oriented is very important, but also integration of data, because the data that we are talking about here is coming from multiple sources. And so we may need to know if we are collecting data from 10 universities in Nairobi, and that data is, for example, coming from ZTech University, KU, USIU, KCA, and all that. The way we name registration number, so for example, we are talking about data for around students. The way we name registration number in our institution may not necessarily be the way JQuat names or calls registration number. It may be admission number or unique number or whatever, yeah? And so how do we integrate those two when we collect data? Those are key concepts that we may need to even discuss in this class. But also, how can we be able to look at data from the perspective of, or in relation to time, when that data was collected, and how does that have an impact in the decisions that we make, but also non-volatile, of course, like I say. The other thing that I need to mention is data mining. I may not mention about I may not be able to mention about all the, okay, I can see our prof is here. Welcome, Professor Jenga Munene. Thank you for joining us for this session. We are learning about data mining, and so you're very much welcome. So, so what I was saying is, data mining also is an unretrieval process of extraction of hidden, previously unknown, and potentially useful information in large databases. And what does that mean? What we are talking about here is that, yes, we have from various sources, data from data warehouses, data from transactional databases, data from, let's say, even transactional databases, data from whatever source that you're talking, social media, like Nelson was talking about. And all that data, we want to be able to extract that data. But also not just to extract, but also get the hidden and previously unknown information. Something useful from that data. So let's give an example that data from let's say from ZTech University, yeah? So we have collected data from ZTech University, and that data is about students, and we are looking at enrollment of students in ZTech University, and we want to get to understand how do students enroll, or why choose ZTech in the first place, for example, yeah? And we can be able to analyze data about students, get to know, for example, where do we have the major market? Where have we taken the major market share from? Who are those students in various, areas of this country, or where do most of our students come from? Yeah. what motivates them to come to ZTech University. Those may be, hidden, previously unknown, and potentially useful information for ZTech University to make strategic decisions around their next move, as far as probably marketing is concerned, or as far as their business is concerned. And so we need to, so it's not just pulling data or getting data from whatever sources, but also we want to be able to analyze that data and get some useful or potentially get information that can inform the next move that we are making as an organization. And that's very important. And if you think about it, even from that angle, then you may want to understand why I was saying that this class is practical. And I remember some of us were asking, so if it's practical, then how are we going to learn online? And I was saying it's practical in the sense that we will have to, or rather, it's very, very applicable in the real world where we are in. And many of the even examples we'll give are examples that relate to the day-to-day affairs of, the day-to-day affairs that we run each and every day. And of course, your feedback and comments will be very variable in that sense. So data classification is also very, very key term, and characterization. And classification here is a task of formulation of models, functions that best describe or distinguish data classes. So being able to know this data can be classified under this, because also we want to classify data on subjects. So being able to know this data fits in this subject and this, that's also very, very important. Characterization also, which is summarization of general characteristics and features of the target class of data. So you are able to characterize data that you are getting and be able to summarize this data should fit here and here and here. Because also we'll be learning about outlier analysis, and we will need to know, so whichever data that does not fit where we want it to fit, what do we do with it? And that's also very, very important. Discrimination is also a very important concept that we want to talk about, and this is comparison of general features of the target class of data objects against the general features of the objects from one or multiple contrasting classes. So being able to know that this is a general. Generally, we would expect that this curve looks like this, but this is the data we have. And how can we be able to compare the two and see what is the discrepancies or what is the difference between the general curve, how the general curve should look like, and how it is. And those are also concepts that we will be looking at. Prediction also, and prediction here is after we analyze data and we have gotten some useful information, can we predict how the future looks like based on the data that we have currently? That's also important. The other thing is outliers, and outliers here is very, very key. And we'll talk about outlier analysis, because every data, today I think there are many, many algorithms that are coming in, and they are trying to demystify the concept of, doing away with all the outliers, because it's not necessarily that all the outliers are wrong. Because outliers is basically, this is data objects that deviate from what exactly you would expect, or the generic behavior of the data model you are using. And there are new models that are coming in that are trying to demystify the fact that all the outliers are wrong. Because it may not be the case that all the outliers are wrong. There may be some of the outliers that we can be able to deal with. Some of the reasons why outliers will be there within the data. What do you think? Why would we have outliers? Probably you can type in if you have What are your thoughts around why do we have outliers within data sets or data, the data that we are collecting? What causes outliers, for example? Yes, you can type in there. Let me see some few comments. You see also it's possible that in such a forum, I can be talking to myself. I know that. So the moment I get feedback, I know I am not alone. So I will actually be sampling. So let me get feedback from the following people so that I know people are still here with me. This is a huge class. Paul Mutunga, please give a comment there. Give a comment, Paul. Vu Hamisa, give a comment. Edward, give a comment. Kipsang, Kipsoi, give a comment. So quick comments I'm receiving is one, Hassan is saying data entry errors. And I want to agree this, and I want to agree with this because data entry errors in this case would be, for example, we are human. And sometimes you may want to enter, and you may have talked about this in system analysis and design, where we talk about concepts like minimalism and all that. But the way we design even these robust interfaces we have today, we may design in a way that we try to minimize all the errors that may come with that interface, but still we get errors. We actually get errors. And that could be someone was collecting data for Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and they were told that the age of a person is 30 years, but when they were entering that data, probably there was an additional zero on the data entry, and that can be an issue. There could be data processing errors, and those could be now based on the algorithms that you are using or the functions you are using. If the function has an issue or the function is wrong, then you would expect some errors in data processing. They could be the tools that you're using as well, and that could cause some errors. The other one is variability of measurements. That's an interesting one, Kiprop. And I don't know the variability of in measurements, what you mean by this, but in my opinion, I think what I would pick, and you can confirm, or rather you can type your thoughts. Yes, I can see you're talking about the tools that are used. But in my opinion, I would yes say that the tools, the measurements tools, but also there could be using this particular SI unit, or I'm using meters, and the other person, the system is using centimeters, for example. And that variables or the change of variables can actually change or can alter the end results that we get. Good thoughts right there. Who did I call and they never answered? Edward, are you there? Okay, you are there. Hamisa, are you there? If you are there, just say yes. If you are not, then I will assume you give me a screenshot. I mean a screensaver, and I will act appropriately. Hamisa, are you there? Duo Hamisa. Duo, can you hear me? Duo, can you hear me? So, hope that's not. I hope that's not a screensaver. Anyone else I mentioned and they have not responded? So anyway, I'll be sampling as we continue. The other key one that has been just mentioned by Felix is changes in circumstances during development. What would that mean? Please type in, okay, while you're here. Please type in what your thoughts are around that for me to get clarity on what you mean. Yes, as we continue. But what the next thing that I want just to us to have a bit of introduction on both introduction to data warehousing, but also introduction to data mining. And data warehousing is a relational database which is developed with an aim for query and analysis rather than transaction processing. Now remember, data warehouse is not a transactional database. For example, if you have a point of sale system in, did I lose my screen? Are you able to see my screen? Okay, let me retract that. Sorry.
No.
Let me get that back. Now? Okay, it's back. So what I was saying is, that, for example, in a point of sale system, you would expect that data that a customer represent or a salesperson who is what do we call these people? The people that serve us, on the counter, yeah. That person is using a transactional database, but we can pull data from transactional database and take it to a data warehouse, and so that data becomes a non-volatile data that we cannot make changes on that data. We are just storing the data. But of course, we also store it not on the way it was in a transactional database, but we store it based on the subjects that we are talking about, And that's very, very important. So remember, data warehouse contains historical data that we have accumulated over time that is derived from a transactional database or from multiple sources, various sources that are there. But also, data warehouse is a single version of truth form, a single version of truth for the organization, and it's created for the purpose of helping in decision making, market analysis, for example, forecasting, prediction of the future, forecasting the future. Those are the reasons why we would have a data warehouse. And remember, now we are linking this data warehouse with data mining because we are mining data from a data warehouse. Okay? We are mining data from a data warehouse, or rather, the data that we mine, one of the sources of that data is a data warehouse. It can also be mined from a transactional database for real-time analysis, where we want to see what is currently happening. And last time I talked about Worldometer, which was which I mentioned, Worldometer.com, this site, yeah. I talked about Worldometer, which actually gives us real-time data on how many people are alive today in the whole world, how many people have died today in the whole world, how many people have been born in the whole world, and they have added a feature for coronavirus in there. But yes, gives us quite good analysis there. I also talked about the features of a data warehouse. And I talked about these four features. So subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, and non-volatile. And this is just what I was talking about. I mentioned this. So subject-oriented focuses on a subject rather than an ongoing operation. So focusing on sales, on marketing, on distribution, one particular area. Integrated, which basically means that you are able to merge data from multiple sources. Non-volatile, that data once loaded in the warehouse do not change, but also time variant that focuses on change over time, hence enabling organizations to study the trends and changes and provide objective facts based on the same. Let me try and just move. So the big question here is, how do we analyze data? Because we can't avoid, or we can't run away from data within the organizations today. But the question is that data becoming valuable to us? Is it helping us to actually meet the objectives that we have? And that could be very, very important for any organization, of course. Yes, there is the operational database, and I think this is something I would want to put emphasis in our next class. But before I do that, let me just mention that there is the operational, and this is something I have mentioned also. There is the operational database, but also there is the data warehouse. And we need to differentiate between online analytical processing systems, which deal with data warehouse, and online transactional processing systems, which actually deal with the transactional data. And so in many cases, the data that we have in warehouses, mostly the part of that data comes from transactional databases. And that's also very, very important. The other Okay, if you have any question or any comment, please type in as well. Wow, I didn't know this class has grown to this level. Quite a number of us. I know 4 years are keen on finishing school, so we have to make it count by all means. But it's good that we are here. So the differences between operational database systems and data warehouses. Okay, this is just a comparison. And let me just go to this, because online transactional database is actually an operational database, but online analytical processing system represents a data warehouse. And just to differentiate the two, is whereby an OLTP, online transactional processing, is a customer-oriented kind of a system. So, or kind of data, that the data we deal with in online transaction processing is customer-oriented. But in analytical, which is the data warehouse, is actually market-oriented. So we are looking at market. And so it's possible that the marketing, or if we are storing data about marketing of learning institution like ZTech, it's possible that we don't have just data about our university, ZTech University, but we can pull data from other sources and see a comparative analysis of the two, because it's a market-oriented, it's not a customer-oriented. Also, of course, things to do with system integration. So that you can be able to integrate various systems for an online analytical system and link data that is coming from multiple sources. But also, in terms of data content, we manage current data in online transactional processing systems. But in online analytical processing, we manage historical data. So we summarize, aggregate, and store information from various levels, from multiple sources, and we keep that over time. I won't be check that, of course, for the country, but the country, or the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, which deals with the national data, has data, dated back in 1950s. I would expect that they still have that data. Somehow they were able to capture, if we are keen on what we are talking about, because that helps us to make informed decisions, that we can see how our growth, the growth of our economy looks like, by just comparing how that trend has been over time. The database design in online transactional processing, this you know very well that we use entity relationship model, ERD models, especially if you're talking about a relational database. But we'll talk about the models that we use in data warehouse, and some of those are like star model, snowflake model, a subject-oriented design as opposed to an entity relationship model or an application-oriented model. The view, we focus on current data for an online transaction processing, but for an online analytical processing, it spans over multiple versions of database and schemas. So we are able to integrate information and that originates from different data stores and bring it close home. A quick question from Baraka, and this is Baraka. Is that your name? Like you're called Baraka Miracle? That's an interesting one. I've never seen that before. Okay, I hope. Anyway, so what we are saying is the question that Baraka is asking is, on which category do we have the CRM? Let me get your responses before I give my view. Just bring in your responses and I'll sample a few guys. Wilson, give your response on this. What do you think? Joroge, give your response. Anthony Mutua, give your response. Prudence, give your response. And Osman, please bring in your responses. What do you think? Does a CRM, where does a CRM, where can we place a CRM? Is it an online transactional processing? Or what is a CRM? A CRM is a customer relationship management system, okay? So it's used to manage, how you connect. In YouTube, a very, very, very common one is it's called Bitrix. Is it Bitrix? Which is available on YouTube. If you check YouTube, you'll be able to see it's actually a customer relationship management system. So Newton thinks it's an OLAP. It's an online analytical processing system. Ali thinks the same. Keep them coming. I like your thoughts, Nelson, because it actually explains why are we saying it's an online analytical, or rather an online analytical. I mean an OLTP. Yeah, it's fetching data from. So the question is, if you say OLTP fetches data from an existing database, does that make it an OLTP or OLAP? Okay, okay. Please, if you are typing, if you are saying it's an OLAP, give us your thoughts. Why are you saying that? Yeah. So in let me actually open this, and you give me I'll try and finish this in because we were late by 15 minutes to 4. I'll be done. But I just wanted to see if I can be able to paint a good picture. One of the things I would want you to check is Bitrix. I talked about Bitrix, which is a good example of CRM. Where is this? So I am actually torn in between on how to define this, because for a CRM, on one side, for a typical CRM, a serious CRM, on one side, we actually capture data, real data from the customers for a CRM. But on the other side of a CRM is that we can be able to visualize data that has been stored over time from a CRM. It's possible. And that's why I wanted us to probably get to understand, especially even those that have those that are not very clear on what a CRM is. Because like Kiprop is saying, CRM manages current customer data. It's true that current customer data is actually managed within a CRM. But also it's possible to visualize the trends of the market from a CRM. Some of the CRMs, of course, yeah. It's possible that we can visualize how the trend is going and give an alert to someone on, I think we are doing well this side, and this other side we are not doing well. So I would place it more of an online transactional processing system, because most of the data is current data that we use in CRM. Most of it is current. But also it's I think there is a comment from Ali who is saying, as data in OLTP is operational, it is used running and controlling fundamental business tasks. Please, let's see, and I need us to understand what we are talking about. Let me get a little bit back here, just for us to understand here. So operational database systems is actually what we are talking about when we say online transactional processing systems. And data warehouse is online analytical processing systems. Okay. And so just try and get the difference, yeah? That this, for online transactional processing systems, we are talking of real data. So if we say that a CRM is an online, transactional processing system, then what we are saying is that that system is actually using real data, yeah? And most of them, I would say, even including the one that I'm talking about, Bitrix, most of them, they actually help you manage your customer. In many cases, they help you manage your customer. Sorry, I lost my screen again. They help you manage your customer. And so in many times, a CRM, if I was to answer that, I would place it more of an online transactional processing system. Okay, just before I finish today's session, we'll talk about the architecture of data mining system. And if you look at this, you can see that we have the GUI at the top, whereby we want to visualize. We want to visualize data. We want to visualize data. So we have a CRM, a graphical user interface at the top, but also we can be able to get the mining engine, the pattern evaluation, and also get the database where the data is stored. And so we get the data from the data warehouse, the transactional database, and then we are able to get that into the mining engine, categorize whatever we are getting, also use the knowledge that we have, the knowledge base that we have from previous information that we had or from other sources, and combine with that so that we can visualize whatever we want to see at the very end of the day. Okay. The last part of our discussion today is also now the just understanding what we have just talked about. So the database, which houses the inputs that we get into the mining engine. We need data cleaning, data integration, because we are getting this from multiple sources. So we may have a transactional database, we may have a data warehouse, and we want to remove any inconsistencies that may come because of data coming from multiple sources. The knowledge base, of course, which evaluates the resulting patterns, guiding the data mining process and pruning, because we have a historical behavior that we have seen in the past as far as that data is concerned. And that is important. The mining engine, which forms the core of the system and implements the specific data mining techniques. So we'll talk about classification, clustering, association rule mining, among other algorithms that we can use on a data mining engine. And that is where now you can be able to cluster data, you can classify data, you can associate data, and get to bring out the meaning that you want to get out of it. The other thing is pattern evaluation component, which incorporates various interesting measures to single out the outliers, very important, so that whatever you are giving is clean data. So you have been able to single out any outlier that exists within that. But also the interface, which helps us to visualize the data that we have already been able to mine. Yeah, so according to Gopalan, and this is a book I talked about, and I said I'm also going to incorporate some of the thoughts of this author with a new book. I got an ebook that I'll be sharing with us after this class on data mining, and another one on data science. And yeah, according to him, this is just phases of data mining. We'll talk about most of them, but also we'll talk about, if we talk about data mining or a data mining engine, what are the algorithms that exist in there? And some of those would be association rule mining algorithms, clustering algorithms, classification algorithms, and just get to understand what, how can we use them from a conceptual point of view. And now also see where they are used in day-to-day life. So these are concepts that I am just introducing, but I can assure you that they are concepts that we'll look at them in details as we move on. I have some review questions in there, and these are some of the questions that probably you may expect in some of the assignments, and I mean some of the evaluations that we may have as we move on. And so please try and attempt them. But also I'll give you some discussion forum immediately after this, where you can throw in your thoughts around what we have just discussed today. Yes, and I'll be able to also share my thoughts as well. Question I'm getting from Anthony is, how will we submit the assignment? The assignment is going to be, most of the assignments will be submitted via e-learning. So if it's a written assignment, you will, I'm not saying whatever is here is an assignment. And I know the last slide was showing assignment 1. Let me say let me say that for assignment 1, I'll give you a multiple choice question that actually evaluates just your understanding. So don't take this as your assignment 1 for now. I'll translate this to an assignment that you can do on e-learning, which is going to evaluate the same thoughts as well, and you will be able to give answers. Yes, I can see the topical questions. Yeah, these are actually topical questions, Nelson. That's typically like it. These are just topical questions to evaluate. For example, when you talk about what are the 3 major research issues around data mining that you can talk about, yeah? That if you are to do a research paper right now on data mining, what are some of those things that you can bring out? Yeah. How does data mining differ from conventional retrieval of data, for example? Yeah. What are the differences in there? Yeah. So those are just review questions to jumpstart us into the discussions that we are having. Okay, in case there is any question, please bring it on before we end, but I want to take a roll call. So let me prepare that in 1 minute, and then I will require you to either respond via putting on your mic, or I'll require you to type in as I take the roll call. So let me set that briefly for just 1 minute. I hope my network is stable enough. So lecture 2.
For now.
If you need to unmute yourself, please, you can. Now that we have just finished, feel free to unmute yourself.
For now.
And in case you have a question, you can also ask either by speaking to us or typing in, even as I prepare our attendance for today's session. Now, let me get quick comments, especially now that some of us have joined today. Are we getting or gaining confidence that this is doable? That we will learn? Because the worst thing that can happen for a 4.1 student is to be told that you'll have to wait for another semester. I don't think it's a good idea. So this is doable, right?
Yeah, sure, it is doable.
I also think so. I think it's doable, and it just depends on how we can, how we will be willing to put our best foot forward. But if we actually put our best foot forward, it's doable. We can be able to do this. So let me get the attendance. Okay, thank you for your comments. I can see those comments. And I think the best thing about this platform is also that that for each party, it's possible for us to monitor our engagement, or it's possible for us to monitor how am I engaging and how are you engaging in learning. That's important. Kiprop, you're here. I saw you. Anthony, I saw you. Omondi Amboyo, are you here? Please, if you are, type in. Keep quiet, Bet. Kipkoech. Kipkoech is not here. Omondi. Is it Omondi Ambonyo or who? I think Ambonyo. Absent. Okay. Kipkoech Bet. Absent. Ochieng. Did I see Ochieng? Ochieng Boaz. Omodi Brian. Kiprop. Christopher. Clinton. Please, if you hear your name, type in or say present so that I am able to do this a bit faster. We are quite a big number. Or, yes, let me just read our names. Kiprop, Clinton, Kipkoskei Collins, Kipchumba Cornelius, Suleiman. Okay, Boaz is here. Present. Omodi Brand. Kiprop Christopher. Clinton. Kipkoskei Collins. Kipchumba Cornelius. All those people are not here. So if you are not here, you are not here. Yeah. Kipchumba Cornelius. Yeah, keep your comments coming. I am seeing them, but I just want to finish this. I saw Edward. Suleiman, I haven't seen you. Edwin Kuria. Jamal. Mwangi Eli. Joroge Eva. Koskei Faith. Felix, I saw you. Joroge is here. Koskei Faith. Please type in that you are present. Paul, I can see you. Type in that you are present so that I can know. I need to know that you are here. Where are these people? Ifano, I saw you. Mumanye Hassan, I think I saw such a name.
Present.
Easier?
Yep.
Mumanye, you are here. Yes, okay, I see you. To Hamisa, I saw you. Who else? Francis? Francis, are you here? Francis is absent. Franklin, Songa. Are there people? Okay, let me see if I can be able to. Wow, this is a big class. Huh? Joylene, Kiprop, Justin, Kipsang, I saw you. Joelyn, Joseph, Omondi Joseph.
Present.
Joelyn is not here. I haven't seen her. Justin. Kipkoech, Kelvin. Oh, Joseph, you're here. Okay. Kipkoech, not here. Kuria, Mudhoni Kuria. Kiranti. Some of these people, I haven't seen them today. Lewa Acheng. Wambui Linda is the one that is too noisy. Rosniga, is that you? Wambui Linda. Lucky Collins, I see you. Lewa Cheng, I see you. Wambui Linda. Brian Magi,
Present.
you hear Brian?
Yes, I'm present.
Type in. Type in here. I'm waiting for Brian Magigio to type in. Okay, I can see you on the audio. Okay. Just wanted to confirm. Who is this? Kevin Molaya. Mark, I saw you. Nelson, I saw you. Tibia Meranine. Michael Mokaya. Linda is not here. Michael Mokaya. Juma Michelle, I saw you. Sasniga, I saw you. Baraka, Miracle, I saw you. Jamila, I saw you. Yamba Moses, I haven't seen you. Ali, I saw you. Mwange. Muriki, I saw you. Mwenda Mudhomi, you're here. Onesimus Mutinda. Onesimus Mutinda. Kiama Moses. Wow, let me go to the last page. This is huge, but it's fun. The last page has okay, type in your name if you haven't heard me talk about you. So Newton, are you here? Casper, I haven't heard about you today. Michael Derito, Naftali, Paul, Mutonga. Stacey, are you here? Brian Odoyo, Winfred. So let me mark those that I've typed in. Okay, Newton, I can see you. Brian, I can see you. Where is this? Brian. Stacy, you're not here. Mildred. Wow. Paul Mutonga is here. Naftali, not here. Michael Derito, not here. Karaoke Ndiga, not here. Nelly Ipkeu, not here. Casper, not here. Stacy, not here. Mildred, not here. Abubakar Osman, I think I saw you, yes. Okech Paul, not here. Kasure Peter. Prudence, I saw you. Monene Raymond. Raymond Monene? Odhiambo Regman. Oh, Kasura is here. Okay. Odhiambo. Prudence, you're here. Robert Mogesi. Ibet Victor. Jacob Simiyu. Kevin Shaka. Mogesi Robert. So, anyone who has not heard their name. Stacy, are you just logging in now? I have called your name so many times. Have you just logged in? I will confirm that from the system the time you logged in. Stacy? Okay, if you've been here, I'll confirm, but let me tick for now. Okay. I don't know if there is anyone I am missing. So I'm just about to save and then I will exit. I will allow you to leave. Okay, so yes, I heard about a question on the issue of the issue of data bundles, I think. And yes, I can follow up that. Can follow up that and let you know. Yes, I will follow it up and let you know by either WhatsApp or before the next class. This thing is. So in case you need to leave, I can excuse you. If you need to leave, I can excuse you. If whoever is calling is part of this class, allow me to finish first, then I'll get in touch. Kevin Shaka, what are you saying? What about Motai Kago? Was anyone who can confirm if sorry, some few guys I left out. Kevin Kibet, Victor Kibet, was Victor here? Anyone who can confirm? I haven't seen him. This system requires a bit. Okay, then we are done here. I hope that this is gonna be fun as it has been today. Thank you for making time for this. I want to now, please make sure you do this. Even if you don't have a question, every lecture I put a discussion forum. Make sure you comment, because also the level of engagement for you is being evaluated. That's what I said for those who are here. I'm evaluating your level of engagement. So make sure you make a comment for every discussion forum that I create for me to be sure that you are actually active in this learning process. Yeah, so that's what I expect. I am still here up to maybe in the next 20 minutes. In case you have anything you want us to discuss, please remain as I finish up on this attendance and also as I try to create a discussion forum that we can be able to use. Yes? I see we have finished. So what I'm not expecting us to do, okay, I'm expecting that we can interact with the content I shared more, but also I am now creating a discussion forum on the same lecture, which is lecture 2. And so you can get in there and put in your comments. If you don't have any question, please comment. And whichever comments you have, I don't have to tell you which comments, but just comment. So that your level of engagement, I am actually evaluating you on that. Yes, I have created a discussion forum. Let me add a topic in there for you to engage.
What?
Just a few minutes. Yes, I have created a discussion forum. Yeah, so in case you need to, not in case, all of you have to comment. And I have just added the questions that I have shared on this forum in that discussion. So you can be able to, you can be able to engage in there. Okay, Kevin, I hear you. You're asking some of these comments. They are disrupting me. Kevin, you're asking, I did not understand what you meant by outliers. I would be glad if you use a case study. Outliers, what I mean, Kevin, is that, for example, we are collecting Huduma number data, yeah? And we come and ask, what is your age? And then you say your age is 20 years, but the person who is collecting the data puts the data at 200, as 200, yeah? So when we are analyzing that data, it's going to be an outlier. It's not within the scope. There is no one who is alive right now in that has 200 years in your data. In your sample, you would not expect that. So that is what I would mean by outlier. That that those are and just like we gave in our definition, and I can take you back there. What I meant by outlier, I said data objects that deviate or do not comply with the generic behavior of the data model. And what does that mean? Is that the data model, we expect that a typical human being is between 0 or 1 year and let's say 150 years maximum. Yeah. So if we get a negative number as a data entry on that particular entry, then that could be an outlier because it's deviating or it's not complying with the generic behavior of the data model that we expect. I hope that answers your question, Kevin. Yes, I am here, and even if you want me to be here up to 5, I'm in my house, so I don't have a lot of hurries. We can still ask questions, and I'll be willing to answer them. So does it mean out of scope as per the subject matter? Yes, it's out of scope as per the subject matter. Oh, Joylene, you are here. I didn't note that. Okay, Joylene, I will revisit that. So yes, Kevin, it's out of scope as per the subject matter. It's not for any other. Any other questions? Bring them on. But also go to the discussion forum on lecture 2 of this course and give your thoughts. Give your thoughts as well on those questions, the review questions that are in this lecture. Give your thoughts around them, and I will remove all the review questions from the lectures, and I'll put them under the forum, so that once we have a discussion here, then you can go into the forum and give your thoughts around the review questions. Okay. Any other question? Any other question? So if no other question, then I will end this this online or this collaboration forum, and I will expect you to go to the discussion forum and give in your comments in the discussion forum. Hivano, I don't know what you are asking about. Is Hivano still here? I don't know what you are asking about. I'm not very clear. If you could help me understand. Oh, okay. Okay. Hello. Yes. Hata ndio namaliza in some few minutes. Wow, this has been very vibrant, very vibrant. Sorry, I actually didn't note that it's already time is already gone so much. Okay. I'll let you know. So in case of anything else, we will who is that now? Paul.
Sorry, sir.
We need to, Paul, you need to be careful about what you say. Anyway, allow me to end this forum now. Please feel free to go to the lecture 2 of this class, and throw in your discussion, or rather your comments around the review questions in this lecture, and I'll be also revisiting them and seeing those that have made their comments. And that's part of your participation in this class. So it will be amounting to the evaluation, or it will be part of the evaluation for this class. Thank you for your time. I have really enjoyed. I am actually shocked. It's 4:20. I was hoping to finish this in an hour. It's almost 2 hours. But I'm glad that we are engaging. I'm glad we are loving it. I'm glad that we are we are having fun. So let's continue in the same spirit. I am very optimistic that this will work for us, and I'm optimistic that we'll get the best out of it. And of course, the management is putting every effort to make sure that this works. And so thanks very much, and all the best.
Hiyo nini mwalimu amesema iko wapi hiyo sijui chat forum?
Nasema nini wewe?
Fungua nini? Hiyo. Fungua lecture 2 utaona.
Kwa lecture 2.
Nasema nini?
Buda mimi sioni hiyo shit mwalimu anasema pia hapo kwa simu.
Iko hapo.
Wapi?
Open your eyes and you shall see.
Buda anatumia simu sana nitaiona aje.
Sawa, enda kwa lecture 2.
Nikienda lecture 2 Buda itaenda
Unaona penye big
behind.
blue button iko?
Hapo.
Penye lecture attendance iko?
Naicheki.
Hapo chini ni discussion forum.
Au ni auoni?
Buda feel nitaenda kuicheki.
Lecture 2 mbona I can't see it still.
Aje?
Sioni bado. Naona okay, Hasani.
Auoni?
Sioni bado.
Uko page gani sasa? Fungua page ya nini? Hii unit.
Niko hapo kwa lecture 2 introduction data mining and warehousing. Sasa mimi natafuta hiyo
Scroll chini hadi nini? Lecture 2.
Niko lecture 2 sasa hiyo. Pale karibu na ile big blue button yenye tuna nini? Yenye tulikuwa tunatumia leo.
Sasa chini ya hiyo button kuna attendance na discussion forum.
Cheki alafu hii nimerekodiwa, tutaipataje ama itaingia direct kwa downloads ama ni aje?
Iko tu hapo. Itakuwa hapo tu kwa nini? Itakuwa attached hapo.
Kwa big blue button.
So unaweza nini?
Fresh.
Yeah.
Ni masaa ngapi?
Ati?
Ya kesho ni kutoka saa 5 I mean.
Saa 5 na inaitwa aje hiyo? Hiyo inaitwa aje ya saa 5?
Kwani una timetable?
Buda simu yangu Buda tu inafanya tu button moja. Siwezi scroll kwa next.
Kesho kutoka saa 5 mpaka saa 8 kuna database concurrency and security tukiwa na Isaac Kega. Alafu kuna ingine after that. Sasa my computer is misbehaving. Kuna ingine after that ni distributed systems na Richard Mtenge.
Hiyo iko double lesson ama ni double?
Kuna moja ya kutoka saa 5 mpaka saa 8, alafu basi kuna ile saa 8 mpaka saa 11 hiyo.
Si Buda hiyo inaitwa double lesson kwani?
Usidhani kama nasema na double lesson.
Ati?
Buda izia.
Sende kuanguka mapema.
Azina na nikane.
Nani ako na sauti mbovu hivyo kwa chura?
Wewe ni Paulo.
Nasikia. Kuna hiyo mambo alafu nasema ni nini?
Buda silikuwa nadai kuimba hiyo wimbo ya Paulo na Sila.
Basi inasemekana uko msituni.
Buda sasa niko juu ya miti, Buda niko fine. Mazi. Niko fine Buda. Nachukua bandit kaa yote.
Waenda ukafungia kondoo.
Leo Johnny yako wapi?
Johnny sijui ameenda wapi leo.
Fungulie PS.
Kama mwingie minimilisha.
Nilisema tu Paulo mazi una happen mazi, nasikia hapo background vitu zako zina happen.
Unasikia nini?
Budo nasikia una happen buda mbaya. Buda ni gani?
Sasa unyamaze ni usikie, niko place public.
Buda is here. I meant no harm. Buda, I was just asking mazi.
Sinafikiri kanisa zilifungwa.
Nimeenda chungwa na bia mbili.
Ama ni wifi ya church mazi. Ni wifi ya church unatumia ama?
Matusi.
Buda lakini Buda, come too close to God. Buda ndiye ataweza kuokoa mazi. At least angalia sasa.
Ile story ya research paper na title na abstract ya Daria kesho mmefika wapi?
Ati Daria?
Hii ya database concurrency.
Kwani hiyo ilikuanga lini? Sinadhani kesho ndio siku ya
hiyo ni assignment ni hadi 19.
Teki nyinyi simtanua hii story sababu hatakuwa last week man.
Ni hadi 19 sio sure.
Sawa, natuma questions sahihi.
Kati na hiyo.
Swali yenyewe ndio natuma kwa chat.
Hii inalipaje?
Ndio hiyo nimetuma sahihi, hiyo ndio ile swali alituambia tuandike.
Tuma WhatsApp sababu hii forum kwa.
Hii forum si safe Buda.
Sawa, acha nituma kwa WhatsApp.
Buda na majibu muhimu.
Majibu alisema kazi ya mtu isifanane. So wewe utacheza kiwewe bwana.
Si Buda tu tunacheza tu na paraphrasing na hiyo nini? Hiyo na tantin unacheza nazo tu kiwewe.
Mimi mwenyewe sijaanza.
Ukisikia tu fununu utume WhatsApp alafu nicheze na tantin.
This session is being
forum kama yetu ya mosheni.
Buda ni noma sana.
Tumesoma miaka na tunda kitu kama hii.
Ati?
mnaanza create Zoom.
Mnacheza minimilisha.
Kitu.
Forum imeundwa na msee wa IT na hata ujui inaanzia kuundwa aje.
Buda mlisikia ile staff yenyewe walikuwa wanasema ati Zoom ya prezo wa nini wa South Africa ilikuwa hacked ikareplacewa na vitu zingine fani.
Wana webcam hapa.
Nini
Paulo screen ni ya nini?
Kwani uko bedroom?
Paulo ni kama uko bedroom.
Msee, kwani siku sahihi?
Kama tuko karibu kuona sex tape nyingine.
Paulo ni kama
This
Paulo
session
ni
is being recorded.
Zicheki, unajua Paulo ni kana dai kutuonyesha
Mbuzi
kuona kwa buda hapo tunafanya kwa kona inaweza
hapa nilikuwa najaribu kufikiria
nini msee
Alikuwa ni unapiga passport.
Muliki mudaizia
Unafana na dem mwingine alidrop out tukiwa year 1.
ile wala ndio ni ukweli confirm
Hiyo si statement yangu.
angalia
Wewe John, hiyo statement ilikuwa nani?
Ndio?
Hiyo statement ilikuwa ya nani?
Sijui ilikuwa
yako wewe.
Nataka kwa mwangaza bana.
buda ile tochi umewasha ama
Jaribu kuonekana.
Kumbe kuna watu walikuwa wanasoma kwa giza.
buda unasoma kwa giza na wengine wanasoma karibu na tingatinga.
Watu wako kwa visiagi.
Huyo ni VC alikuwa amejoin ile gidhaa. Alikuwa na
VC akai hivyo bana.
ilikuwa na
mazeni kama alikuwa ni yeye.
niliona kani yeye.
Ndio anaitwa problem.
Wewe unaona vitu mingi.
Klasi imeisha.
Mimi naonanga.
Klasi ni post.
Hata ulikuwa umeona dunia inaisha 2020.
Jo. Buda mimi hadi sioni tukirudi shule. Tutarudi tu graduate mazi.
Kama kumalizia matacho.
Buda
Mlimaliza matacho.
Buda hiyo kitu tuongelee tena.
Kitu itabidi watu wengine warudie bana. Si hatukuwa assessiwa.
Buda unasikia hiyo pesa ya project ni aje mazi imekuwa written off mazi.
Lakini si nile amesema mambo na project mpaka next year.
Ati next year kwa
Mambo na
bro.
Ni kwa kamera.
Inafaa kuwa September. Project ni ya miezi ngapi? Si ni 3.
project.
Lakini nasikia hii mwaka TC yetu imesuspended temporarily, lakini we are going to be advised accordingly.
Sasa undange yako tu ukikuja unawasaidia.
Mtaona moto.
Moto wapi?
You will see fire.
Magige Brian.
Ametoka kuoga. Mpaka mafuta.
Buda umelala chini. Buda jipaka mafuta mazi.
Nakwambia umeparara. Wewe.
Buda ni wewe, buda hadi siamini kama ni wewe. Ngaraga.
Nakuona online hapa.
Hata uzime kamera ni. Najua umeparara.
Ametoka mtu.
Private tunafanya kazi aje?
Ati?
Wait, Sabrina.
Wewe kuna button ya mute hapo chini.
Umse anadai kutuandalia nini ngwati online wewe hizia na perform.
Acha chezo bana, acha kunichoma na kusikia bana.
Umse anadai kutuonyesha what's best in.
Ali.
Eh?
Wewe ni
Alafu
Paul ama ni-
hapa kulipwa nini ndio msee register register unit.
Watu
Tunaona
unaona
portal
mazee.
ya SIDA ilikuwa imefungwa.
Yeah?
si units sisha kuwa registered hizo automatically I think.
Kwa portal.
Ati
Portal
automatic. Oh,
gazeti
unakuwa sawa.
imejaribu sahihi na imekataa. Inasema site cannot be reached.
Portal.
Portal.
Portal ile portal.ztech.ac.ke.
Portal iko
Ukilogin
sawa.
na inakataa, lakini ukilogin na simu inakubali.
Ukilogin na simu
Login na
ina
desktop inakubali.
Alafu the register mo itakuja tu automatic.
Zee, lazima uta register.
Yeah, pesa mimi.
Kwani ulisema itafungwa lini?
Hata si kufungwa. Kwanza ndio ilikuwa ianze leo.
by then waulize
Muuliza.
balance yako ikisema negative 8,000 that means uko na deni ama uko na excess.
Hiyo swali imekusumbua.
Yes, story
Negative iko negative aje?
Negative inamaanisha you have 8,000.
excess.
Buda si ufanye buda yangu si pia mimi niko na excess lakini ionyeshi negative, inaonyesha tu hizo cumulative.
Na unalipanga aje excess?
Unakuwa
Sini help.
Sawa. Yaani mtu sukumie kwa M-Pesa basi. Kuna excess kwa fee.
Tutaongea na accounts tuone hiyo maneno venye atafanya kurudishia watu kwa M-Pesa. So we will be in touch.
Kuna msesto.
unakuwa sawa.
Jerome kuna unalisha na
Mimi nakwambia magigi yako wengi sawa.
Ako wapi?
Oh, ametoka? Oh, okay.
Yuko.
Alienda kuangalia nini ilikuwa imetoka kuku.
Webcam.
Where.
I thought inakuanga na time limit.
Nini hiyo?
Si aliacha hivi. Ni leka aliacha hivi.
Ni kama alisahau, ni kama alikuwa unenge ikabidi tu ameenda kujitibu kwanza.
Ati?
Ni kama alikuwa unenge ikabidi tu ameenda kujitibu kwanza mazee tumbo.
This session is being recorded. Hii stuff bado ina record. Alafu mwenye alihit button ya kurecord ni kama alisahau kuhit tena isi record. Bado ukijaribu kuingia hapo ile pekee anaweza toa.
Ni kama jo. Pia si ile record inaji-upload tu yenyewe.
Yeah. Lakini yeye ndo anaweza end sasa. Though I guess iko na time limit after certain period inaacha.
Ni 3 hours. Ni kama ni 3 hours. Ndio juu lesson iko 3 hours. Hiyo ndio tuseme 4 tu, tuseme 4.
Lakini uzuri sasa au kushika kitu unaweza rudi tu angalie video.
Bana. Sasa msee mazemi muda mazemi nimeweka bando la asubuhi mazemi nikapata mazee bi yake hayuko.
Hadi mimi niliboeka bana.
Mazee karibu ni mwen. Mazee na sio hivyo.
Sipa bando. Ulikuwa hapa bando. Manzi unabaji.
Tulicheza PUBG naye nyamaza. Na nilikuwa na PUBG hiyo 3 hours mzima.
Sasa si unyamaza usikie.
Na unakufa hapa kama sijui nini. Acha nisianze kuleta makasiriko hapa.
Sasa wataka kusema ni mimi nimefanya nini? Ukufe hizo mara zote.
Sitaki nilete makasiriko hapa. This is an official forum.
Sawa. Ole, we are sorry.
Hata nyinyi mmesikia ni nani yako na makasiriko?
Buda, acha kuleta kitina zenyu hapa.
Discussion forum. Twende discussion forum.
Nani hao?
Hapana, buda mimi sikwadi. Buda huyu ni Paulo bado. Huyu Paulo bado.
Mimi nimetoka, nimeenda.
Buda tuonane. Sawa, buda tuonane.
Kesho.
Sawa, Paulo bye. Sawa.
Mimi sisemangi bye.
Sawa, Jora mobile. Alafu na wewe Ghasia. Wewe umanyi. Buda nakwambia bye. Haina no. Paulo tuonane.
Aya.